Hello there. My name is Michelle G, Bendy Stitchy, and my pronouns are she, her, and you have found my Flosstube channel, so welcome. This is a channel where I talk about cross stitch, and sometimes I talk about knitting, but I didn't knit this week, so no knitting today. Today being Saturday, September 7th, and yeah, let's get into it. So, I forgot how I start these videos. I guess we just jump right into stitching. So I did not fully finish anything. Last week I had 2 fully finished objects. This week I don't have any, but I do have a big finish. I've been working on this for quite a while, since August 18th specifically, and I've been working on this pretty, not like totally exclusively, but I've been going ham on this because this is, look how big that is. First of all, that's big. Second of all, this is for a swap that I'm hosting that I set a due date at the end of July for. This is September 7th, so I'm almost ready to send my swap package to my partner. Sorry, partner. This is called The Empress, Nostalgic Tarot The Empress. This is by the Witchy Stitcher. This is stitched with 2 strands of floss over 2 linen threads on a piece of 28 count linen from Fangirl Fibers. It's called Mothman, the linen is. Look at how beautiful. Mothman. It's a little bit translucent, but it's not bad. Once I fold it up, you can see it's not showing through. So I used almost all of the called for DMC on this, except the black here. I used DMC Diamant for that sparkle. So this is the Empress. I put about 5,270 stitches in this, give or take because I'm counting like with my calculator. And I spent about, this is crazy. So I use the Notion app. Notion is a tracking database thingy, and our friend Nati, Stitchy Nati, she created a Notion template, a cross-stitch template for Notion. So you can track things like how many stitches did I put in today? How long did I stitch today? So I stitched for about 29 hours and 7 minutes on this. That's a long time. That's almost a whole work week, right? 29 hours and 7 minutes. I love this piece, the Empress Tarot from the Witchy Stitcher. It is for my swap partner, so I will be sending it away in the mail, hopefully today. And there's the back. Not too bad. Not too shabby there on the back. I like a good back. I like a bad back. Doesn't matter. But super proud of this. This was actually my 38th finish for the year. So I'm a little behind as far as my usual finish pace, but I think I've finished some really big things this year, so I'm not too mad about like not having as numerous of finishes, but just look at that. I'm not going to fully finish it because that was the deal with the swap. They don't have to be fully finished, although some people have been fully finishing them and they're super cute. I'm not going to fully finish mine, but I don't want to send it away. I love it. I love it so much. And then we're packing right now because we're going to be moving house. And I realized that I have a lot of stuff. And I have a lot of cross-stitch stuff specifically. And one thing that I have a lot of are like really cool, fun, alternative finishes. Not something framed, not a pillow, but things that are finished into usable things. So this is a model. This is my punk Flamingo. You can see they're very punk with their eyeliner and their spiky collars and their plaid and their Doc Martens, right? Punk Flamingo. And I used one of Rosie's corduroy jackets and some of her leggings with the pockets. And then some a lot of Lady Dot Creates trim. And then some silk sari ribbon that my Diana sent me. And I realized that I have this sitting in my model box, and what I should be doing is using it, because it's meant to be used. So I kept my scissors in here, and I'll put these now into the next whip. But so I decided that when I unpack and I go through all my stuff, I have quite a few. Like I have a housewife, and I have a couple of needle rolls, and I have a couple of these books. And I decided that when I unpack at the new house, I'm going to take the things that are meant to be used, and shockingly, I'm going to start using them because that's cute and fun, right? Punk Flamingo. They're available on my Etsy shop and on my website, and from your LNS if you want. So because I finished my Empress Tarot, I also was finishing up a lot of colors, right? So every time I color complete, I get this out. This is my hashtag tail end project. This is the project that I stitch on instead of taking that, like, you finish a strand of floss and either you play thread chicken and you win and you have just like a tiny tail left, or you have like this much, this much, this much, however much you have left. I don't like to put that back on the bobbin or back on the floss hanger. I don't like to put my tail ends back. I realize it about myself. Something about myself is I don't like to use the tail ends, because the next time I take out that project with that floss, if I pull out a piece of floss that's that long, I'm annoyed with past Michelle. And current Michelle doesn't want future Michelle annoyed with past Michelle. So I decided to work on something called, I call it a tail end project. And this, this is a freebie from Queenstown Sampler Designs. And I just took it and I said, every time I finish a color on a main whip, I'm going to take the rest of that color and I'm going to put it in this. And here I go. So for this project, for the tarot, this color is from the tarot. And then I think, where does it start? I think it starts here with the pink. So all of this bottom of the bird down to the flower and the M and the 20 and this here and all of this up to the middle is all from the Empress Tarot. And then the way that I'll remember that 10 years from now is I write it on this. So you can see, I can't pass this one along because you can see right here, I wrote like, this section is from the PB&J ATC in June 2024, this Juneteenth day, July Stitch4Pride. So this one's going to be finished, so I needed a new one and a next one to do. And as I was packing, looking for things to potentially destash or get rid of, I realized that I was in the Lakeside Needlecraft book, summer 2020. So one of my designs was in there and I was looking through the book and this was in there as well. This is called A Summer Bower. It's from Modern Folk Embroidery. It's 65 by 75, 1,596 stitches, and floss color says any, but here stitched with DMC 816. So when I'm done with this one, Quaker Coronet, I'm just going to open up this fabric and I'm going to stitch a summer bower on the other side in the crazy colors. And I'm just going to keep pumping out these crazy colored things. And then I think it was at Pinwist last year, Anna C, Stitch 1 Frog 2 gave us this, Go Away I'm Stitching, another perfect project for this tail end project. For me, the tail end project is going to be great for any like monochromatic piece that I just am not reaching for, but I know I have it in my stash and I want to stitch it, but I'm not like making special time to stitch it. These tail end projects are perfect because it's not like extra time and effort to stitch it. I mean, it is because you're putting in stitches, but it's not like extra time and effort in terms of planning to stitch it. I just always take this project bag with me. Whatever I'm stitching on, I also have this, and I just stitch on it. Incidentally, this lives in a project bag that Lolly made with some amazing Tula Pink, like, awesome fabric. So that was my finish and my whip, my work in progress. I don't have anything else that I stitched on this week. I haven't stitched that much. I stitched approximately 3,393 stitches in 4 stitching days, for a total of 16 hours and 21 minutes about this past week, which is pretty comparable to the week before. The week before I stitched 3,423 stitches. This week was it's been a lot of packing, right? When you have to move house, there's a lot of packing that has to go on. So I've been trading stitching days for packing days because you got to do what you got to do. But I do have plans. Should we talk about my plans? I have so many plans. First of all, Stitch4Pride, August and September, I'm behind. And I realized, this is going to be all kapakahi. I realized Stitch4Pride, August and September, I packed up my flosses before I got a chance to, before I thought to pull my flosses for Stitch4Pride, right? So if you don't know Stitch4Pride, it's by D's 20 Stitches. I'm going to switch over to my desktop. D's 20 Stitches every month, and you can't buy this sale anymore. We could buy it from D at the end of last year, and then he opened it up again, I think in June, just before his top surgery, so that, you know, to raise money. But I stayed all caught up until August. And in August, I don't know what I was doing in August. Oh, I was frantically stitching on a bunch of stuff. But this is August. So all the colors are by KN Yarns, which is Jasmine, Knitting Nurse. I didn't get the floss pack. So what I needed to do was find colors, but then I packed my flosses, right? So this is the August color. Keep that in mind. And every month there's colors and there's learning. So that's the August color, and this is the September color. Now I'm pretty sure that I have a Cottage Garden thread that is almost perfect for this one, but it's packed. So whatever. Luckily, I love to buy things. And I'm in a couple of floss clubs. So my StitchyBox Silk of the Month club came. I'm in the StitchyBox Silk of the Month, and look at this month. Oh my goodness, is this month amazing. So this month is amazing for many reasons. Number one, because it has my favorite floss, if anyone's wondering. If anyone ever asked you what's Bendy's favorite floss, it's this, StitchyBox Bat Orchid. It's variegated black, it's perfection, it's beautiful, 12 out of 10, no notes for Liz, it's everything. It also had this one in it this month. This is Galaxy, which I've already gone through a whole skein of Galaxy on a different project. Love it. It has lavender, which is just really pretty. I don't think I have that one yet. And then this one is called Tropical Waters. And I think Tropical Waters, this last one here, Tropical Waters, this will be my August Stitch4Pride color. Because I'm just pulling colors from my stash that are as close as I can get to the Stitch4Prides. So that's going to be August. Liz didn't send me anything that was great for September, but Trisha at 3L Threads did. So I am in the Nest Egg, the Threadworx Nest Egg from Trisha at 3L Threads. And what that means is every month, because I pay for them, she sends me 10 Threadworx flosses. And usually she sends us the names so I can go through them one by one with you with the names, but we didn't get the names this month, or I didn't get them in my package. So this is them. This is gorgeous. And I think it's not exactly the same, but I think this one is going to be my September Stitch4Pride. Let me just switch back over to my desktop. I know it's a little bit different. This one that D used, that Jazz dyed, is a little bit more orange to brown to gray, which is gorgeous. And this one is a little bit, I think, darker and warmer. This is more like peaches instead of that light kind of luminescent. But it has this color right here, which is giving a little bit of grayish brown. So I'm between that one and this one. And I think the browner one wins. So you tell me, would you use the darker one? Would you use this one, the darker one, or would you use the more orangey one, this one? I think I'm leaning towards this one. Plus it matches my nails. I did also pick a Classic Colorworks that might work. So I'll have to lay those out together and see kind of what's what and what's going on with that. And then I am in the Dying for Sass. I'm in Dying for Sass's Patreon. And the level where I sit in Dying for Sass, Jenny gives us a poll every month, and we vote on the poll, and then she dyes a floss that looks like the inspiration picture. So she puts up 3 inspiration pictures and then dyes a floss. And this month's floss, the winner of the poll, it is a colorway called Ice Cream. And I'm just twisting it because I like a twisty floss. And that is Ice Cream. So really pretty, very interesting. I'm not sure where I'm going to use that, but make no mistake, I will use that. So I love a good floss. You can never have too much. It doesn't go bad. It does not go out of style. I mean, it might go out of style, but it doesn't go bad. So those are most of my purchases this month. And I wanted to show you because I wanted to talk about the Stitch4Pride sale. And I think these two are going to work. I think those two are going to work. They're going to be really different. I'm also going to it'll be one strand of this, or like one section of this that gets put into that. And I think those will look really yummy together. Also, the artist for September is a Hawaiian artist. So I think this is giving a little bit of ocean into the design. I don't know. We'll see. So since we talked about purchases, let's talk about Happy Mail. So my friend Kristen, I was talking about, I have a whip called Abra Lowney, 1825, and Abra it's a beautiful whip. Let me just, I'll pull up Abra Lowney here. This is my Notion. So we go into my patterns and projects, and we do my in progress patterns. Abra is, let's go ascending. Abra is my second oldest whip. So opening it up, this is what Abra looks like. And down here, there's a lot of over 1 in the name, in the verse. The verse is all over 1. And Kristen said, I think I have a floss that would work for that. This is because my Abra is on 40 count. So let me see if I have a most recent picture in here of. This is my most recent progress picture of Abra, and they're on 40 count. She's on 40 count. But if you look at this dark teal color, Kristen was thinking that this might work. This is 300 yards of super fine floss from hand-dyed fibers. Is that Vicky Clayton silks? This is called Old Maid of the Tempest. And I think that is absolutely going to work. And I'll just change the over 1 verse. I won't do it in that white color. I'll do it in this teal color. And I think that's going to be beautiful. I'll probably run this by Nati and make sure that this color will indeed work on, or this weight of floss. I'll make sure it will indeed work on 40 count because she's my expert, my go-to. Oh, she says it would definitely work. So I'm not going to need all of that, but it's going to work. So I will put that with Abra, and I think the variegation is beautiful. And then Kristen also sent a couple of fabrics that she's not going to use. These are 32 count even weaves. Oh, a bunch of fabrics. So these are 32 count even weaves, and they're smaller cuts. They came from kits that Kristen stitched, but she stitched them on different fabrics. She changed out. So they're kind of interesting cuts and colors. The colors are great, but they're interesting sizes, right? Because they're meant for something. And then the last one is a 28 count ice blue Lugana. It's a 9x13. So what I will probably do is, Kristen said keep them or put them in with the charity stuff. So I'll probably put these in with charity things and get those sent out with charity stuff, which will be nice because who doesn't love fabric? I'm also doing, for Pinwis, which is next weekend, Pacific Northwest Stitch Summit. If you're going, I'll see you there. Come and say hi to me. But for Pinwis next week, I have a gigantic box of stuff that I either don't need or don't want to move to the new house. And it's some of my own things. And it's also a lot of stuff that people have sent me for charities. But I think at the new house, I'm going to kind of start fresh, and I know I'm going to cull a bunch more stuff. So what Janine at Acorns and Threads, what she graciously allowed me to do is she is going to allow me to set up a charity table at Pinwis. And so I'm just going to have a cookie, like a cookie jar, and you put your money in, or a QR code that you can scan. And our charity at Pinwis is going to be RTFC, which is Restore Together Foundation for Care, which is, I've talked about this before. We fundraised for this before. This is the charity that one of my surgeons and my old boss run together. And funds raised for this charity allow them to go to the Dominican Republic every January and not only perform orthopedic surgeries, but also do some teaching with the local surgeons to make sure that they're getting that ongoing education and that brush up on skills and new information and all the things. So this is my old boss right there. And I think they cut the surgeon out of the picture. I think they cut him out of the picture. But anyway, that's the team. They take a little bit of a different crew every year, but it's the same core crew. So at Pinwist, I'll have a table set up, and it's just going to be super low maintenance. It's going to be, hey, if you like something off this table and you want to make a donation, take the thing you want and make a donation. If you want to give $150,000, give $150,000. If you want to give $1, give $1. If you feel like you're not in a space to donate right now, just take the thing. Just take it. So I'm really grateful that Janine is letting me do that because raise a little money, get rid of some stuff, rehome some stuff. I have books, I have patterns, I have fabric, I have an LED desk lamp, I have fully finished items that are both mine and things I picked up at thrift stores, just like a lot of really awesome stuff. So I'm excited for that. What I'm not excited for is carrying the box. I'm going to have to make it into 2 boxes because it's heavy. It's a heavy box. Moving, man. You pack these boxes and you think it's fine, and then you realize, like, that's a heavy box. So then you unpack it and repack it. It's fine. Okay, so plans. I talked about all of that because I was talking about plans. I really want to catch up with Stitch4Pride, and I know I can do it. So I'm going to take the Stitch4Pride things. I might just catch them up really quick this weekend because neither one of them are very big. Maybe that'll be my goal for this weekend is to catch up the Stitch4Prides because I don't think I'm not living under the pressure of any deadlines currently. My ink circles round robins are not due until the end of the month. January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August. Correct. They're not due until the end of the month. So I have 2 that I'm a part of. So after I do my catch up on Stitch4Pride, I'll feel great, and I will then go into my round robins probably. Also, hold on, time out. I have to talk about Pick-a-Whip. 1 second. Okay, so Pick-a-Whip, if you don't know, Marjorie made stitches. Hold on, let me pull her up. Oh, she's under my recents. So Marjorie of Marjorie Made Stitches. She is a beautiful stitcher, super engaging Flosstube. Love to watch her. I fangirl all the time. She's also really nice. I slid into her DMs once and we chatted a little bit and she was really nice. But anyway, she does this thing called Pick-a-Whip. And her Pick-a-Whip for September 1st was a stash start. So what are you going to start that makes you buy nothing? Marjorie is starting Moths and the Moon, and I've seen a bunch of people starting on this. So it's Moths Over Many Moons, Sal. This is by Tiny Modernist. So if you have this, then this would be a great one to stitch on. Also, let me let you know that if you have this, you could double dip on this because my friend Danielle, her birthday is coming up at the end of September. It's September 29th, and she wants to do #butterflies and borders, Sal. Danielle is stitching butterflies and borders. It's a pattern, not sure who it's by, but it's just butterflies and borders and letters all over the pattern. But Danielle's Sal is stitch on anything with a butterfly or stitch on anything with a border. So if you're doing #Moths Over Many Moons, Sal, you might as well just throw in #butterflies and borders, Sal, right? Because you can have both. It can be both. But I track everything on my Pick-a-Whip template that Nati made and stash start. So I'm going to see, I don't know if I have. Nope. So I haven't put this whip in yet, which is not ideal, but this is Vreeland Sisters number 5 from StitchyBox. It's called Hildy. And yes, Liz named this after my Hildy. So I've had this kitted up for a literal age with this luscious fabric that my Diana dyed. So Hildy, on this fabric, oh, it's even better in the camera. On this fabric that Diana dyed with StitchyBox Silk in the colorway Rotten Pumpkin? Burnt Caramel. Sorry, it's Burnt Caramel. This is a StitchyBox Deep Dyed Yarns collaboration. Look at that. So this is my hashtag stash start for Pick a Whip. Look at that. This is also a great, if you ever want to do I stitch Birdie, Virolanda Sisters 1, for all of my Tour de France. I didn't stitch a single stage of La Vuelta, and La Vuelta is over tomorrow, so I got to catch up on that too, but it's going to be fine. My friend Christina stitched this for La Tour de France. She made each one of these birds a stage of La Tour de France, but I think that would be a really fun, meditative, monochromatic stitch. And I think it's going to look really good like this. But it's been kitted up forever, and it's just been sitting waiting for me. So I think it's a good idea that I start it for Pick a Whip. And I was going to take that with me to Pinwis, but then I realized that Pinwis starts on the 14th and there's going to be a new Pick a Whip on the 15th. We'll see. We'll see what there is to see. Okay. I talked about some of my happy mail. Do you want to see another one of my happy mails? I know you do. Because this happy mail is, a model. This Ken's job is stitching. This happy mail is a model, and it is done in Fiberlicious Yummy Fibers Paint It Black, which is a black silk from Gwen at Fiberlicious Yummy Fibers. You can't see that anyway. Take my word for it. And this is stitched on 36 count baked clay from Fox and Rabbit. And I don't know when I'm going to release this. I designed it initially with Black Sampler November in mind, and I'll probably release it maybe October-ish, probably after we move house. And I don't know if I'm going to do printed charts for this or if I'm just going to do PDF and see how that goes. But this is kind of a bigger version of something that I designed for the patrons, and it's just very simple. Vote. Black Sampler November. So this is 36 count baked clay from Fox and Rabbit in Fiberlicious Yummy Fibers Silk Paint It Black. And those are very Scottish letters. And you just vote. And the border is a very recognizable border that I use on a lot of my stuff. Especially what I'm noticing is I use this border a lot on not political pieces so much, but like the Personal is Political has this border. They're like statement pieces. I use this border. So the idea is eventually to turn this into a little drummy drum, like this. This is a very rough little drummy drum, but kind of like that, right? But vote. So I will release this in time for Black Sampler November. And I also have it, I also have a color version, I think, charted. I have a color version charted but not stitched. So maybe I might try to stitch the color version. But when? So thank you to my Diana, one of the loves of my life, for stitching this for me. I like all of my model stitchers. And it's nice to have people that you really, really enjoy stitching your models because it makes them extra special. I don't know. Call me a sap. Last thing. 2 last things, actually. Number 1 last thing is the giveaway from last week. This is Up All Night from Tiny Modernist. And I think 9 people entered to win this. And I am going to send this to, wait for it, it's on here somewhere. Cassidy H. I'm going to send that to Cassidy H. And I'm going to do that probably this weekend because I gotta ship. My goal this weekend is to ship everything that was meant to have already been shipped. Ship it now. Because it would make 0 sense whatsoever to pack things, move them to a new house, and then ship them from there. Let's just ship them from here. And then, so the other exciting thing that we have to talk about that is kind of stitching adjacent is auctions. So I'm going to partner with, I obviously am in no place right now to put up auctions and then send the auctions out. So I'm partnering with my friend Julia, and they have a bunch of stuff that they've donated, and they've graciously agreed to donate the things and ship the things if I would just auction them off. So I'm like, done. Yes. You want me to just do the easy part? Yes. Thank you. So we will be raising money for Housing Works. And this is actually September 14th and 15th, which is next weekend, is cycling fundraiser through it's called the Breaking AIDS Ride, like breaking like a bike, get it? And when you donate for the ride, your proceeds go to the Breaking AIDS Ride and Housing Works. And Housing Works is it's a charity that does just what it sounds. It helps provide housing for people who are living with AIDS, who need help getting it otherwise. So we have a bunch of stuff. Julia and I do. Actually, Julia has a bunch of stuff. I have a platform, which is fine. Totally works. Julia has, let me go through it. And there will be pictures up on my Patreon. But let me just run you through what we have. So we have, and there's a fundraising page. I'll put the specific link for Julia's fundraising page, and that's how we'll know that you donated to Julia, because there's all kinds of good stuff. So we have a cowl that was designed by Ann P., Fiber, Floss, and Fiction, and it was also knit with her discontinued yarn that's like I think it's a wool. Julia will correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's a wool silk blend, this yarn, and it's absolutely beautiful, the cowl. And then there's 2 pairs of hand knit socks, one that's like a pumpkin color and one that's a really beautiful like turquoise coral stripe. There are 41 skeins, some partial, some full, of Weeks Dye Works cotton floss. 126 skeins, some partial, but mostly full, of color and cotton. And then a beautiful Hanukkah-themed advent from Legacy Fiber Arts in 2021 or 2022. It's 8 mini skeins that are absolutely gorgeous, and then a neutral. And then, so we'll be doing that over on my Patreon with the stuff. And then we will also be doing on my Twitch stream tomorrow, when we're live on Twitch, we will be auctioning off a bunch of other stuff that Julia has, charts, and that's not really auctioning. We're going to be destashing those. So destash for charity tomorrow on Twitch, to go to Housing Works. So if you are so inclined, I will put the listings up. Julia sent me all of the pictures and the description, so I'll put the listings up on my Patreon in the auctions category, and then tomorrow we'll do the live stream with the charity destash, which will be tons of fun. So that's it. That's it for stitching and stitching adjacent things. The only things I have left to talk about are books and my tarot card. So where did I put? So my tarot card of the day comes from my first tarot deck. Probably not ever. I think I probably had a tarot deck when I was like an emo teen. But my first tarot deck as an adult that was gifted to me from Holly, my friend Holly, Stitchy Pros. This is the James R. Eads Prisma Visions Tarot, and I drew the 2 of Chalices today. The 2 of Chalices is all about being able to share yourself and be yourself without reservation, letting people see your true self, and being grateful for the people that are with you. So I really like this card. I don't think I've ever pulled this card from this deck before. And most of my decks are packed right now. So I am using my trading deck, which the base deck for my trading deck is the Prisma Visions Tarot. But what I've done, and I got this idea from a lady that I was speaking with at the Eugene Invitational Tattoo Convention. I bought my second ever tarot deck at the convention, and she said that she had joined a Kickstarter with someone who the Kickstarter was for a starter deck that you were then meant to trade with people. So like, she said, like, imagine running into someone on the street and like you bump into each other, end up having a conversation, realize you both love tarot, you both whip out your trading decks and you draw a card for each other. So that's what I've been doing for the last year and a half. And you can see I have cards, the original cards that are still in the deck, from the deck, but then I have cards from many a friend and acquaintance. So, and some of the cards are like the wrong size for the deck. So like this one is from Aya Rosen. Well, this is a bad example because I didn't keep Aya's note. But let me see. Let me find a good... Oh, this one is from my friend Megan. And it's... Nope, this one's from my friend Deborah. And this is the Seven of Pentacles. And it's from... The actual card from this deck is like almost half again as big as these cards. But I didn't want to cut it. I made the mistake with... This was the first one that I traded. This was from my friend Erica. And I cut the card down. And now it's like a little too skinny. And it got cut off a little bit. But I didn't want to do that with some of these. And so I took a picture, printed it on my computer, and then used Deborah's note as the back of the card. So like to make it even more, and then I added the date that we traded. So if you have a trading deck, or if you want to start a trading deck, I would love to be that guy that trades with you. Just let me know down below if you want to trade, and I'll reach out to you, because it's just as simple as like, we pick a time and we both think about each other, and then we shuffle our deck, and then we each pull a card, and that's the card that the other one gets. And I think it's really fun, and I enjoy doing it. And I'll have this deck at Pinwis. All my other decks are packed. I'll have this deck at Pinwis if anybody is going to be at Pacific Northwest and wants to do a tarot card trade. Just put it out there. Do you want to trade? Do you want to trade tarot cards with me? And then the last thing is my book. So I was listening to Yumi and the Nightmare Painter, and it frickin' expired. And I hate that. But I just didn't listen to it fast enough. So then I went looking for a book that's available now, because I needed to listen to a book that was available now. And I found The City of Stardust by Georgia Summers. And the premise of this book, I'm not very far into it, 22 minutes, but the premise of this book is that this family that the book is about, they have a curse. And the curse is that someone, some otherworldly fae creature, steals the daughter of every generation. And they have for countless generations. So the book starts with the daughter of the generation walking away from the house. She says, I'm going to try to break this curse, and she leaves. And she leaves her little daughter there, who's the daughter of the next generation, right? So I'm only 22 minutes in, but we're already talking about these two brothers that were left raising their niece are trying to protect her from the curse. And the niece is 11 now. Evelyn, I think, is her name. And the fae creature that made the deal with the family is going to come and get her. And it's all about like, how does this child break the curse? She has to go to this other world and try to break it. So it sounds like it's right up my alley. We'll see. 22 minutes in, a little hard to tell, but could be good. Could be good. And it was available now, which is huge. I have real trouble because I use the Libby app on my phone for my library. So I can't get a lot of Book Talk books right away because there's a wait list for all of them. And I'm not about that buying books life. I'm all about that library life. So I read books that aren't like the most popular, and I read the popular books years later, but apparently I don't read them fast enough. Listen to them fast enough. So that's that. That's all I've got. We're going to do the auctions for Julia for Housing Works. Oh, also, Julia can't ride in the charity ride this year. So instead of riding in the charity ride, because it's over 2 days, they are going to knit a pair of socks in 2 days. So any donation, $5 or more, gets entered into a raffle to also win that pair of socks, that charity ride pair of socks. I haven't seen the yarn yet that they're going to use, but I'm sure it's going to be lovely. And yeah, so that's it. So come and hang out with us tomorrow on Twitch, and you can buy a thing for charity, or you can just throw some money for charity, or you can just stitch and watch everything go down. It's all great. I think tomorrow might just be on Twitch, because unless I can figure out how to integrate comments from YouTube and Twitch into the picker, because it doesn't feel fair to be on YouTube and Twitch and be running a charity stream that only one platform can participate in. So maybe I'll stream on YouTube as well, but if you're on YouTube tomorrow watching the live stream, you won't be able to bid. There's a delay and everything. But we'll try to figure that out. So TBD. Show up where you show up. Other than that, I think that's it. I don't know when I'll be back. I won't be back next weekend probably because it's Pacific Northwest Stitch Summit. It's Pinwis. So I probably won't be back next weekend. I always think like, oh, I'll do a little live stream from my room at the retreat. No, I probably won't. Although I do have my own room this year, so maybe I will. If I do, it will be more of a stitch with me and less of a full Flosstube. But then the next weekend after that is the weekend after closing for the new house, so probably won't be on the weekend of the 21st either. So this might be the last time I see y'all for over a fortnight. So take care of yourselves, get a lot of stitching in. I'll see you tomorrow if I see you, and yeah, just have a really good month of September if I don't see you until October.